You're not being rude. You're being assertive, and you're explaining what your needs are and what your desires are.
Hi, my name's Devin. Today I own several multi-million-dollar companies. We started with $5,000 in a credit card. I don't know the easy way. I only know the hard way.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Whiteboard Entrepreneur podcast, where I give straightforward advice to fuel the entrepreneur in all of us. Being a great leader, being a great entrepreneur often means being a great communicator. And a lot of us struggle with communication for lots of different reasons. And today I want to talk to you about how to write an appropriate, effective, concise, and assertive email. And you think, well, geez, that's easy. Well, for some of us it is, others it's not. If you're one of those people who literally take, 45 minutes to rewrite and reread an email, or your emails are long, like 2 pages long, or frankly, like you're just very intimidated and too nice in your emails, this podcast is for you. And I want to teach you how I do emails. There's lots of different ways, but some things that I think are really going to help you right now. First off, you have to decide and get to a point in your life where, you don't have to necessarily be conversational in your emails. Understand that the busier, more successful that you get, the more emails that you're going to have to answer. And so when you feel like you have to start every email with, a smiley face, or you feel like you have to start every email asking people about their weekends, you're going to eventually get bogged down. And so I would invite you and encourage you to begin starting to make your emails more and more concise, more and more straight to the point. And once people get comfortable with you, listen, in the beginning, it might be very uncomfortable for you and for the person receiving it if that's not normally who you are. So you might have to morph into this, right? So that people don't think that you've changed overnight. But you can deliberately start getting more and more and more to the point. So basically what I do when I'm reaching out to someone is, first off, why am I reaching out? What's the point of the email? Well, generally when we're sending someone an email, it's because we have 2 or 3 questions. And so the first thing I like to do is I'll say, hey, I would like to find an update on XYZ. Right. And very clearly in the first sentence, maybe 2 sentences, explain what my email is about, why I'm sending the email. Also, in the actual title line, I will title it, update on ABC. Right. So that people know when they open it exactly what it's going to be about. And I'd say, hey, Bob, we talked last week. You were supposed to send me an update by Tuesday. I'd love to hear an update about ABC. It's Wednesday afternoon at 3:00. So within that, we can hold people accountable within their emails, and we can also be concise. The next thing I would say is I personally like to number my emails. And you say, well, what does that mean? Some people use bullet points. Some people use numbers. However it works for you. I personally like numbers. And the reason I like numbers is if you're like me, you might not be reaching out for just one question. You might be asking 3 or 4 questions, right? So, hey, Bob, I'd like an update on ABC situation. And, you said you were going to get back with me on Tuesday. It's now Wednesday at 3:00. Please provide an update on, point number 1, how many are going to arrive? Point number 2, what is the color? Point number 3, so on and so forth. And literally putting each and every specific question that you have into a number. And the reason this is important is we're taught as children to write in paragraph form, right? And if you write an email in paragraph form and you go through and you say, hey, Bob, could you please provide me an update on ABC issue? And I need to know the number, the quantity, the arrival time, the colors, the size, the blah, 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 all of these different things. And you write it into a paragraph form. It's actually very difficult to respond to that, especially if the person responding only has an answer for the quantity, the color, and the size. If they don't have a response for the other things, it's very difficult to respond. So when I go through, I basically number out point number 1, is this very specific question. Point number 2 is a specific question. Point number 3 is a specific question, and so on and so forth. So that when people respond, all that they have to do to be courteous of their time is they can say, number 1, I don't know. IDK, I don't know. I should find out by Friday. Number 2, here's your answer. Number 3, here's your answer. Number 4, still waiting. Number 5, could you clarify the question? I don't understand. But imagine responding to 8 or 9 questions all baked into a single paragraph. It becomes very difficult for the respondent to actually respond appropriately to your email. And so the reason I do it this way is it makes for very clear and concise communication. So when you go back and forth, and let's say you go back and forth on this email thread 5 or 6 times, and in the beginning you may have 8 different points. Each time, if number 1 is taken care of, now on the 4th response, all that they're doing is putting like number 5, here's your answer, right? Because you already answered number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 6, number 7, number 8. So on the 4th or 5th time back, they might only need to respond to 5. The color is blue. And all of a sudden you've saved yourself time, them time, and there's very clear and concise communication. Also very easy to track, like I said, as you go back and review email threads. The other thing I'm going to invite you to do is be appropriately assertive. Lots of us are very apologetic in our emails and say, hey, when you have the time, instead of, hey, I'd like an answer by Friday, right? Or, hey, if it's convenient for you, or, all of these different things that we do to try to soften our words instead of being assertive. So I actually got something the other day that I'm going to read to you. I thought it was pretty good. I saw it on TikTok. And it said, instead of sorry for the delay, let's say you need to say something, sorry for the delay, you say, thank you for your patience. Again, you're being assertive, right? I know what, if you said, hey, I think maybe we should, how about this instead of response? It'd be best if we did. Instead of this one, we say this all the time. What works for you? How about this? Could you do X, Y, Z? Instead of what works for you, could you do, please? This is a really good one. Oh, sorry, my bad. I totally missed that. Instead of, hey, thank you for letting me know. I'll update that. How about, no problem, no worries? How about always happy to help? How about, hopefully that makes sense, instead of let me know if you have any questions? How about, could I possibly leave early, or could we possibly change this date to I will need to leave at XYZ time, or I need to readjust our schedule such that? When we start to put words or like asking, we think we're being polite, but really in business, we need to be assertive, right? You're not being rude, you're being assertive, and you're explaining what your needs are and what your desires are. In email, things can be very confused if you use things like, could you please, or would you, or what do you think about, instead of saying, I need you to do this. Will we be able to have this completed by the end of the day, etc. Very concise, precise, and direct questions and or statements. If you apply these principles today to the way that you communicate via email, I know that it will make you a more effective, concise, assertive communicator, and I know it's going to help you in your professional life. I'm Devin, and this is the Whiteboard Entrepreneur Podcast.